All right, Philadelphia, good to be here. Thank you all for coming out to the official weigh-in, so to speak. It is UFC Fight Night, Barbosa versus Gaethje. We begin with the ESPN Plus prelims, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We start in the bantamweight division. Alex Perez versus Mark De La Rosa. Oh, and there's McMahon, folks.
Also, Ariel, Helwani, and Brett Okamoto here. Thanks, John. Thanks for the shout-out. We will be taking you through these official face-offs. So there is Alex Perez and Mark De La Rosa. They will be kicking things off on ESPN Plus.
Bantamweight, not to be confused with the flyweight division.
All right, our next prelim streaming live on ESPN Plus in the women's flyweight division. Sabina Mazo versus Marina.
It'd be an easy mistake to make.
I am looking forward to the debut of Sabina Mazo, the Colombian queen, former LFA women's flyweight champion. This is flyweight, not to be confused with bantamweight.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, next fight in the bantamweight division, we welcome back Ray Borg. He takes on the UFC newcomer, Kenney.
So Ray Borg making his first appearance since October of 2017. Earlier this morning, he missed weight. Only fighter on the card to miss weight. He weighed in at 137. That's a pound
Ray Borg,
over.
Kenney, the featured prelim bout on ESPN Plus.
What happens there, Brett?
Yeah, 20%. Ray Borg forfeits.
All right, next up, the prelims live on ESPN 5 p.m. Eastern Time. First up in the middleweight division, Kevin Holland versus Gerald Meerschaert.
20% of his purse goes to his opponent, Kenney. We say hello now to Kevin Holland and Gerald Meerschaert. They'll be kicking off the prelims on ESPN.
Could be a surprise, a fight that surprises people. Maybe grab some of the spotlight, some of the attention, because I think stylistically it's a fun one.
Holland coming off an impressive win over John Phillips in his last fight.
All right, moving on now to the featherweight division. It'll be Enrique Barzola versus Kevin Aguilar.
Barzola versus Aguilar. Barzola coming off a nice win over Brandon Davis, and Aguilar coming off a nice decision win as well over Rick Glenn in his last fight.
What do you think of the? It reminds me of the old school days where they faced off right after the weigh-ins. Yeah,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
saves a little money probably, right? Doing the whole big to-do.
Oh, I'm sure.
I
want to know where the Octagon girls are. Usually they're here.
All right, next up, UFC
Delaware not good enough for them.
That's an astute observation.
Desmond Green.
I didn't even notice.
Here's one of the veterans of the game, Ross Pearson, who has a nice little traveling crew with him. Or maybe it's Desmond Green, actually.
I think it's Desmond Green.
Yes, Desmond Green and Ross Pearson. My bad. Sorry, Ross. That's a fun fight at 155.
It's a fun stare down.
Rochester, New York always turns out. Desmond Green and Ross Pearson in the lightweight division.
It's cool. It's cool because it's a smaller room, and these are all family members, so you can really hear the individual training sections.
Reminds me of a WEC.
All right, and our featured prelim live on ESPN in the strawweight division, Marina Rodriguez versus Jessica Aguilar.
Marina Rodriguez against Jessica Aguilar. Rodriguez coming off a draw against Randa Marcos, and Aguilar most recently lost to Weili Zhang, which is nothing to scoff at. Aguilar, the former World Series of Fighting strawweight champion. That's the featured prelim fight on ESPN.
All right, now we get to the main card for UFC Fight Night, Barbosa versus Gaethje. This is a 7 p.m. Eastern start, live on ESPN. First out of the chute in the featherweight division, Sadiq Yusuff versus Shayman Moraes.
Brett loves this fight.
Love it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. There's another one I think that could steal the show.
This is a great way to start off the main card. Super Sadiq looked great in his UFC debut late last year. Shayman Moraes coming off a win over Julio Arce.
Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Paul Bear Jew Craig.
Did you catch the way he said it?
Nzechukwu.
Nzechukwu.
John Anik.
Always
trying to
off.
show everyone.
Always.
Look at this.
Look at this. Yep.
And Paul Craig's got the war paint on, right? As he likes to do.
I'm telling you. This
all
is
up
the
in
one.
his grill. Nzechukwu making his UFC debut a product of the Dana White Contender Series. Craig lost 3 of 4. looking for a big win.
Oh, I love fights like this, man.
Yes.
The undefeated
All right,
prospect
next
against
up,
the guy who's
strawweight
been
division.
there,
This is a big one
who's
here.
struggled a little
Karolina
bit, needs the
Deiveson
win,
versus Michelle
maybe to stick
Watterson.
around. A lot to fight for on Saturday.
Speaking of a lot to fight for these two.
Yes.
Michelle Watterson, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, two of the best at 115. Important fight at strawweight here.
The hug, of
And
course, of course.
They're all so friendly. Karolina saying she has looked up to Michelle for quite some time.
Saying that she tried to buy Girl Scout cookies from her daughter recently. That was fun.
All right, now we get to a featured bout in the UFC featherweight division. Josh Emmett versus Michael the Menace Johnson.
Her daughter just killing it on the Girl Scout cookie scene. And listen to this reaction to Michael Johnson. Last guy to weigh in, he meets Josh Emmett, who is coming back for the first time since February of 2018.
This is an underrated card, man. This is one of those cards where you don't have the biggest names in the
Josh
world,
Emmett
but
tomorrow night
hardcore
live
fight
on
fans,
ESPN.
people who know the sport, there's some very, very good fights on this card.
And the main card starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, so that's just
UFC
great.
middleweight division, David Branch versus
Does it? I didn't know that.
Jack
Yeah.
I feel
it's
like you
true.
haven't said that to me before.
Oh, I'll say it a couple more times.
Did you tell me this? Someone told.
David Branch looking to rebound from his loss to Jared Cannonier.
Yeah. Tough time out for David Branch, who thought he was going to fight Jacare.
Two of the best middleweights
Jacare
in the
gets
world,
pulled out
David
of the
Branch
fight.
versus Jack
If he was-
Hermanson, your co-main
I mean,
event. Tomorrow night it is live
You know these
on
guys, they never
ESPN.
want to make excuses, but if he lacked a little bit of motivation after the
And that,
Jacare
of
rug
course,
got pulled
brings us
under
to
him,
the main
I
event.
can
This one's
totally
got all the
understand that.
rankings. UFC lightweight division, Edson Jr. Barboza versus Justin the Highlight Gaethje.
When this fight was announced, Brett, one of those fights where everyone in unison says, yes, I like it, it made sense, I can't wait.
Edson Barboza, Justin Gaethje, your lightweight
Another
main
fight
event
where
tomorrow night.
you expect this, but they've both been very respectful of one another. They both know what
All
they're
right,
in
thank you all
for.
for coming
One of
out.
those fights where they
We'll see you
both
at the
know
Wells
what they
Fargo
could be
Center
in
live
for
for
on
the fight
Saturday. I
tomorrow.
love it.
UFC back in Philadelphia for the first time in 8 years. It all goes down Saturday night at the Wells Fargo Center.